Hey, welcome back everybody. My name is David Pendleton. Yesterday I did some Tour 8 grinding. Today we're going to do some Tour 6 grinding on one of my different Golf Clash accounts. So I chose this account because it's a pretty new account. I've had it for about 5 or 6 weeks. I spent around 1,000 games in a row playing Tour 1. I was really just goofing off with the account. Wasn't too sure what I was going to do with it. But yesterday I took it up to Tour 6. So I ran through Tours 2, 3, 4, and 5, unlocked Tour 6 with the minimum amount of trophies needed so that I could make this video today. If you like Golf Clash, if you want to learn how to use the ring system and learn more about the game, then please subscribe to my channel, down below. But I chose this account today because it's going to be pretty familiar to most players in this tour, meaning what clubs I have on this account. So the Extra Mile 5, Sniper 4, Backbone 7, you can see them all. This is pretty standard for what most people are going to use. Now I do use the ring system. I do combine that with the Golf Clash notebook app. I'm going to go into pretty good detail in this video about how that can help you and your game. And let me say this, you're going to see me only use Quasar and Navigator balls on Tour 6. Tour 6 is the first tour that I use any ball outside of the basic ball. Tours 1 through 5, basic ball only. Tours 6, 7, 8, and 9, Marlin, Navigator, and Quasars only. Tour 10 is the first time you could really start to situationally use Titans, Kingmakers, Katanas, or any balls that you buy. But I want everybody to understand that, when you're using a Navigator, you can buy 45 of those for only 300 gems. It's going to cost you 3 times the amount to buy Katanas, 3 times the amount to buy Titans, and a whole lot more to even think about purchasing Kingmakers. But if you understand the ring system and the win system, you will never need to use anything other than a Navigator or Quasar all the way through Tour 9. Now, we have one guy in our clan here. He goes and plays Tour 10. He uses a Marlin ball. He is a beast. He's taking a little bit of time off this season, but you can see this guy right here put up 10,800 points last season, and he plays with only a Marlin ball on Tour 10, so watch out for that guy. But let's hop right into the game here. I'm going to show you Tour 6. I'm going to explain my opponent's shots, my shots, and I'm going to show you how to use this app right here. So you can see my clubs, an Extra Mile 5, Backbone 7, Razor 3. These are all the clubs you just saw in my golf bag at the beginning of the game. So right off the bat, we're going to get a par 4. There's 2 ways to approach this hole. If you have an Extra Mile 6 or better, you could definitely go for this shot right here. I don't like this shot with my Extra Mile 5. I hit that sand a lot, and that's very dangerous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go full top spin, full left spin. You see my ball guideline is going into the rough. You don't want that to happen. I'm going to plug in 5.5 miles an hour wind, 2.4 rings. When using the rings, always make the wind blow north. Start in the middle of the yellow. That's 1 ring, 2 rings. Call that 0.4. Pull it back. Now I don't want to go in the rough, so I'm going to use a little bit of left curl here. Hit my shot perfect, and I should land right on the fairway, which is where I want to go. And I know I kind of rushed through that, the rings there and the wind, but I'll get in more detail and slow that down over the next few shots. You see, I landed exactly where I wanted to land. If I would not have used left curl, I would have gone into the rough there, and going into the rough would have been an impossible shot to make the green in 2. Now our opponent is going to go for this shot right here. I could have definitely made this shot. I do feel that it is risky, and there is no reason to risk it when I'm more than likely going to be going for a putt for birdie either way I go. Yes, if you make this shot and you land on the fairway, you do have an easier chip in for the eagle, but it's still not an easy chip in on this hole regardless. So I'm going to take the safe path and let my opponent gamble and see what happens. Now, he did make a very good shot. He was able to clear the bunkers, which is nice. But my prediction is my opponent and I are going to be going to a shootout, even though he is much closer than I am. So here we go. We have the sniper here. You see, if I pull my sniper up, I can't go any further. That means my sniper is at maximum distance of its club ability. So we're going to try to aim at the pin, and we're going to go over here. We're going to make that 0. That's elevation. There's no elevation on this shot. I'll go into that later. 4.6 miles an hour. We're going to use the top number, the 4.2. So we're going to move this 4.2 rings. So again, make the wind blow north. That's 1, 2, 3. We're going to call that 4.2. That was actually 3.2. I messed that up. I didn't go an extra ring. So that's my fault for rushing. We're still going to be okay. You know, we're going to be right here. This is going to be an easy chip in for the birdie and probably force a shootout. So I'll clear all this out, and you're going to see that next to each club, there's 3 numbers. Right now, they're all zeros. But if I change that to 5 miles an hour, let's use that sniper again, okay? So you'll see 4.6, 4.2, 3.9. Well, what does that mean? The 4.6 means you're at maximum distance of your club. So if you push up on your target, if you can't move your club up any further, you're going to use that top number. If you are at middle distance, you use the middle number. If you're at minimum distance, you use the bottom number. And we'll get into some of those situational things here a little bit later. But right now, you know, my opponent and I both have to chip in for the birdie and to force a shootout. So let's see if we can make that happen. You know, I don't really use any rings on these little short chip-ins. I just aim at the pin. You know, you are going to get a little push for the wind, so I'll aim to the left because that wind will push me to the right a little bit. You know, but I hit the ball, and it's going to go into the cup. That's a pretty simple shot, even hitting it great and not perfect because of my slide adjustment. Now, our opponent should be able to do the same thing, and we go to a shootout on the first hole. I want to stress that you don't need to use any of those balls other than a Quasar, Navigator, and Marlin as long as you have a good understanding of the ring system. A lot of people like to use those other balls and balls they pay for because they like to have the wind control or the extra power. I'll tell you right now, the extra power is not going to get you an advantage on many holes on this tour. Our opponent went for the dunk. You know, I don't know why you would do that there. Just take the simple shot and go to a shootout. But, you know, we're going to take the win regardless. I do want to try to play someone else who's using a special ball to show you why you don't need to use the ball. So, let's see if we can get a different opponent here. Again, I'm going to clear this out. This is elevation. Tour 6, almost every drive has a 10% elevation. Elevation means you are shooting downhill. So your ball is in the air longer, which means it's going to be affected by the wind more than it is anything else. Here's a great example. This opponent is using one of the best balls in the game as the Aurora ball. Well, now he's switching to a Katana. So either way, he's going to use what most people would consider a better ball than what I am going to be using. And this is a very long par 5. Now, there's no way to reach that second fairway there on the drive, so we're both going to have to lay up. So him having extra power on this ball is going to give him no advantage on this hole. He might as well use a basic ball or a ball like the Marlin, Navigator, Quasar like I'm going to, because we are going to be in the same position. Now, we're going to get headwind here. So if I wanted to use the ring, see, I'm at max distance. If I put in 5.6, I need to move my rings 2.5. But if you have headwind and you try to adjust your rings, you can't pull your club any further. So you'd actually have to pull your target back first and then adjust the rings. So 1 ring, 2 rings, 0.5, put it there. I'll use a little bit of overpower because we do have that headwind blowing at us. But the nice part is my opponent and I are going to be on the fairway. You know, he has a katana. I have a power 1 ball. No advantage in this particular situation to do that. And it's going to be the same thing for the second shot here. We're going to be in the same zone. We're going to be laying up on the fairway, or one of us may go into the rough, who knows. But regardless, you know, we should both be on the green on our third shots. Sinking the eagle on this hole is very difficult. It rarely happens. Now, hopefully he doesn't go into the rough here, because if he does, he's not going to be able to make it on the next shot. He did go into the rough. You know, you could see that coming. He was eyeballing his shot. Didn't really use any adjustments for that nasty wind we're getting right here. So we're going to go over here to try to avoid the rough. Now, obviously, my ball guy line is pointing into the rough, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to aim it a little further over here. We're going to use a little bit of overpower. We're going to use a lot of curl. We're going to hope we hit it perfect, which we don't. But hopefully we can get around that rough and onto the fairway. Okay, which we did. So now that's going to put us on the green in 3. He will not be on the green in 3, which is why you want to use precision, you know, when you're playing the game. The katana, again, is now going to be a wasted ball. It's much more expensive to purchase with gems, as you saw earlier, than it is to use the ball that I play with. Now, yeah, you can get the katanas in chest. You know, you can win them, you know, on your golden pin. You can get them on your free chest that unlocks every 4 hours. But you're much better off to save this ball for a tournament. Tournaments is where you want the advantage. It's where you want the extra distance, the extra wind resistance. Every hole is situational. If I was playing this hole in a tournament, I'd probably be using the same ball, because you're more than likely going to be playing for the birdie on this hole unless you get really, really good headwind and you have some powerful clubs. Now, I'm not even going to try to make this shot. We're going to play this safe. I really just want to land, you know, on the green. But see how that's maximum distance? That's minimum distance. So we're gonna play this middle distance. So we'll just put in the 4.3 with no elevation. Use the middle number, 3.6 rings. Make the wind blow north. 1, 2, 3.6 rings. You know, we hit this right here. Hit it. Great. Doesn't matter. We're going to be on the green. We're going to have a very simple putt to make the birdie and pick up another win. I would like to get to a shootout so I can show you the advantages of the wind chart and moving the rings. But if you do use this app, or if you don't use the app and you find a different way, just understand that on Tour 6, every single shootout except one hole is using 10% elevation. That's going to be very important, because the name of the game in a shootout is to get much closer than your opponent. So every elevation that you know is going to let you dial in your shot a little bit more accurately and give you a leg up over your opponent. So we're going to win this hole. We're going to have the easy putt for a birdie. I'd like to play this guy again, and then hopefully he does use one of those Aurora balls or another ball, so I can continue to show you why you're not going to need those as long as you know how to use the rings. And we haven't really got the dial in with a ring shot yet, but you can see that by using it, it has given us an advantage on the precision of our shots. So we'll see if we can get a rematch with Snowman. Unfortunately, I don't get too many rematches. I think a lot of people look at the stats and they see 1,100 games played with 89% winning percentage, so they don't feel they're going to get a win. But that's all right. You can always find another game. Now, I really, really like this hole right here. This hole is going to be good to show you the rings on because of a rough bump. As long as I hit a good drive here, you're going to get to see a cool shot. So, we're just going to push this to the left a little bit. Use a little bit of overpower to land on that fairway. You know, when you have a headwind blowing straight down at you like that, you don't really need to use the rings. That was a pretty simple drive, but I'm really glad we got this hole on the third hole that we're playing. I think this is the third hole. But the nice part is this shot right here, you get to do a rough bump on. And if you can get this shot down, you are going to win this hole almost 100% of the time. Because a lot of opponents here are going to struggle with just this shot. You know, you're going to see people clip the trees. You're going to see people roll into the rough and make a bad drive, which is going to give you an easy win. But this is going to be a really good opportunity for me to show you the rings here. Now, in my opinion, anytime you're hitting a ball over water, the wind affects the ball more. So I'm going to use a 10% elevation on this hole. For me, that works. Some people play this hole 0% elevation, and the opponent did exactly what I said that a lot of opponents do. They don't have the precision for the drive. So here we go. 10% elevation. First thing you want to do is figure out what distance of our club we are. Well, you see I push this up, can't go any further. So we're at maximum distance of our backbone. We want to dial in our shot, right? So let's aim this right to the pin. Boom. We're going to put in 6.2 rings. We got to move our backbone 4.2 rings. Now, I don't even know if we can because we're pretty maximum distance. But this right here would be 4.2 rings. Oh, we can. Okay, good. So we're going to shoot that. We're going to use just a little bit of overpower because of the wind. Now, if we hit perfect, we're going to have a good shot here. We hit perfect. Hit that rough, roll out. Okay. Well, there we go. So, pretty hard wind to get the drop, but I'm very happy that I could show you that shot because it took all the guesswork out of it. We're able to land on the green. There's no way our opponent is going to beat us. He would have to make this shot right here to beat us. We're going to be putting for the birdie. He's going to have to make this next shot for the birdie. So we have a very high probability to win. But you can see there, I was able to line up my shot on a rough bump with nasty headwind and still get close enough to make an easy putt for the win. If I was not using rings there and I was the average player, you would have to try to base that shot off a feel, which is very difficult to do. You know, the game was designed just like any other video game. You know, there's a strategy to it, and using the rings is a definite strategy. Can you play without the rings? Absolutely. Will you carry a high winning percentage? Probably not. Will you win tournaments? Definitely not. You know, there are going to be opponents like myself who study the game, who study the rings, and it just gives you the precision. See, this person right here didn't adjust for anything. He's probably going to blow to the left if he hits perfect. And come up short. So, yeah, left and short. You know, he's trying to play the game off a feel, which just doesn't work out, which is why he lost this hole. We'll see if we can get a rematch. Clear this out. Like I said, all drives except a few drives on Tour 6 have 10% elevation. So I put that in there so that we're ready for the next hole. Apologize for the coughing. I've been having a nasty cold since Friday. I think I'm starting to finally get over it, though. So let's go through another hole right here. All right, so this is one of the holes that actually has a 20% elevation on the drive. And anytime you have a long shot with, hopping, water, you can pretty much count on 20%. So we're going to line this shot up. I go full top spin, full left spin on this hole. For now, I'm going to aim it there. 6.2, change that to 20%. 3 rings. So get the wind blowing north. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings. Pull it here. Now, if you remember, my ball guideline was not very good, so I'm going to use a little bit of overpower to make the shot and some left curl because I don't want to go into that rough there on the right second fairway. I think hitting great left is still going to be okay. We should get the hop. We should get the roll. Okay, well, I need to hit it perfect. That is not a good shot. This could be the first hole that we lose, but we'll see what our opponent does. If our opponent lands on the fairway, they're going to have a huge advantage on this hole. You know, but that's what happens when you don't hit perfect. You hit great like I did, and you roll into the rough, and that's the easy way to get yourself at a disadvantage of the hole. Now, he also hit great left, but he was really aiming for... Wow, that's not going to be good. So, we're both in trouble. He's in more trouble than I am, but more than likely he will be able to salvage his shot, and we're both going to be on the green in 3 shots. So this is just a simple layup, you know, nothing crazy needed. We're just going to get onto the fairway here and then be on the green in 3. Our opponent will probably be on the green in 3, and we'll probably be going to a shootout finally. I don't think we've had a shootout yet. I'd like to continue to play till we get to a shootout, though. But I'm also not going to complain to get a bunch of wins in a row and continue to build my coins up. And the one thing about the coins is I never run out of coins. It didn't used to be that way. One of my other accounts is a master account, and I went completely broke on that account. And that was before I knew anything about the rings. I was playing the game based off of feel, which is how I thought the game was supposed to be played. And I did really good. I just made an absolute terrible shot into the rough. I can't believe I did that. Could definitely lose this hole now off of making a very, very stupid shot. But anyways, you know, I went broke on one of my accounts. I started to study the game. A guy in our clan told me about the rings, got me onto that. I did some studying. I created that other account, that Big Daddy account that I showed you earlier, to learn how to use the rings, why I built up my main account. And as you can see, it definitely pays off. I need to make this next shot or else we're going to lose this hole. Very, very stupid shot that I just made. Very unlike me to do that. But we'll see if we can knock this shot in. We have good wind, which is great. You know, pointing straight at the cup. Can't ask for any better than that coming out of the rough. The hard part is hitting perfect out of the rough. We did hit perfect. And we salvaged this hole. So don't make a stupid shot like that and put a lot of pressure on yourself to make it in. But we made it in, and we're finally going to force a shootout. So here we go. Clear this all to zeros. 10% elevation. Remember, like I said, on Tour 6, almost every shootout hole has a 10% elevation. Very important to put that number in there so that your shot is going to be more precise than your opponent. Because if your opponent is using rings and you are using rings, if they don't know elevation, then that's going to be the one thing that's going to differentiate you between you and your opponent. This is a 10% elevated hole. I don't like this hole. This hole is difficult for me to get close to the hole. I do know how to do it, so hopefully I'll get there. But if you don't hit this shot right, you're gonna roll from the right part of the green to the left part of the green very rapidly. This has a huge dip on the green, and you know, we'll see what happens here between my opponent and me. I don't know where he is playing this shot at. I don't think I've ever seen anybody aim this far right on this hole. So we'll see how that goes. Not good. Yeah, I'm not sure what he was doing there, but I'm gonna try. I will show you how to play this hole, and I'll show you the distance of the club. So pull it back here, minimum distance, right? Pull it up here, maximum distance. Well, we're in the middle. You want to play this hole right up here on this hill. You want to use a ton of backspin and full right spin, okay? That second hop right there, you want to make sure that ball hops onto the green though. So we're going to aim right there. We're going to put in 8 miles an hour. We're going to use the middle number because we're at middle distance, so 4.7 rings, which is right here. Hit that. Hit the ball perfect. And we're going to win the hole. So that's going to be a win. Yep, that's actually a really good shot on this hole. This is a very difficult shootout hole, in my opinion. But we did get the win. And you'll see, I mean, the rings really helped us out. That shot landed almost exactly where we wanted it to based off the ball guideline of the shootout hole. So we've played 5 or 6 holes so far. You know, we won them all. We're on a 10-game winning streak. We'll continue to play. Maybe one more hole with you guys. I know this video is going on kind of long, but hopefully it's been informative. You know, if you want to buy me a Red Bull or something like that, there is a way to donate to my PayPal at the bottom of the video link. You know, please subscribe if you want to learn how to play the game. Join our clan. Our clan is awesome. A lot of smack talk, a lot of funny people in the clan. Some really good players. We used to be C100. Old clan fell apart. Some people complaining about the game, how it's rigged, XYZ. The game's not rigged. It got annoying. You just got to learn how to play the game. You know, that's the biggest part. You can see here, the game's not rigged. I got an 89% winning percentage. I'm using rings. I'm winning tournaments. Other people in my clan are winning tournaments. You know, we had 13 people of our 27 people make it to the finals of the last tournament. We had one person win gold. We had 6 people in top 10 finishes. So we know how to play the game. And, you know, I'll definitely teach you how to play the game. So please subscribe. Please follow me. You know, I'm doing my best that I can to show you the rings in the end game, you know, on how to do it while you're playing the game. But I do love this hole. This hole's the rough bump hole. We're getting a lot of headwind here on the drives. And the headwind is not a good way to show you the ring system because you're already at max distance, so you can't really adjust for the rings unless you pull back your target to begin with, which is fine. But so we're going to go 5.1. Seems like that's the win we got both times we played this hole. You know, I'm going to go right here because, I mean, that wind's going to push me to the left anyways. Use a little bit of overpower because the wind it's a little bit a headwind, but not a lot. But like I said, you know, it's going to push me to the left, which is exactly what it did. I'm really happy with this drive. This is going to put us in a pretty good area to go for the rough bump again. Now, on my other accounts on here, which is that's one of our buddies, but you can see there, this guy's got 2 golds. He's a sharp player. This is one of my other accounts. I have better clubs. I'll play this account with you guys next week, and we'll see a lot of drops on this particular hole where I can dial in the rough bump. This is another one of my accounts. This is my main account. But you can see, you know, look. Oh, sorry, I'll do this one. So you can see, you know, 3,400 games, 79% winning percentage, 3 gold banners, won the past 3 tournaments. Our opponent here went for the shot that we're going to go for. He did not adjust for rings, which is why he is where he is. I will adjust for rings, and I will make a better shot than that. So, maximum distance, minimum distance. We'll call that middle distance. No elevation, 6.3 miles per hour, 5.3 rings. So that's 5 rings right there. And we'll call that a third of the yellow. So, oops. So we need to pull that trigger down. We'll call that 5.3. Now, hit this ball. Perfect. And we should land on the green, right? I mean, maybe it'll go in, maybe it won't. I'm not too concerned because our opponent's going to have a difficult shot. You can see, again, using the rings, precision. Well, I'm sorry about all the coughing. I'm really struggling with my cough today. It was a lot better yesterday, but it's driving me insane today. But again, you know, I just use the rings, and that's why you don't need to use any other ball outside the balls that I'm using, because the precision of my shots is putting me right there. Now, if I was playing a tournament, you would really see me dial in to try to drop that shot. But for the sake of time and the video and trying to explain how to adjust for rings, I'm not going for a lot of drops right now, and I'm still going to get the win. I have no idea what just happened there. That looks like a game glitch. I can't even explain what that was. Well, regardless, we're going to putt the ball for the win. I don't know how many games we played. I think we just went 6 or 7 games. We won them all. Won them all with just pretty beginner balls, Quasar Navigators. We beat some opponents with some better balls. You know, please subscribe to the channel if you're still listening. That's awesome. Come join our clan. That's cool too.